There are several things, issues to chat about this morning, ranging from we're in October now and the decline in murders continue. Murders down by 18%, unemployment down, and amidst all of that good, positive news that affects us so dearly, we have other news that is not too good. Yes? When you look at what is descending on our friends and families in Florida, when you look at what Milton, Hurricane Milton, is shaping up to be in Florida, it is heartrending what they're in for. It is so bad that Florida's most experienced meteorologist, in giving the forecast as to what they're in for, live on television overnight, broke down in tears because of his understanding of what the people of Florida, in particular those living on the West Coast, are in for. I know we have quite a few of our YouTubers or listeners or viewers on our YouTube platform at Nationwide 90 FM Live living in Florida, yes, and we're thinking of them this morning. Yes. Also this morning, the Observer publishes two stories this morning that I want to bring to your attention, because both stories speak to the lives of Jamaicans at the individual level and how miserable life can be, how unjust life can be in this year Jamaica of ours. The Observer leads on its front page with a story headlined, The Unwanted Court Forced to Keep 6 mentally disordered inmates in prison after finding no entity or family willing to take them in. Just think of that. 6. Nobody wants them. They are not fit to plead, and therefore the court has to remand them. And then there's another story in the Observer this morning that struck me. We don't pay enough attention to these experiences of our fellow Jamaicans. A man, Charles Montague, who was freed by the circuit court in 2017 after spending 3 years behind bars for crimes he did not commit. He has been awarded just over $14 million in damages by a high court judge. And when you read how the court found he was maliciously prosecuted, and his case so poorly investigated, and evidence which proved to be of no material value, and this man lost several years of his life. Not only losing those years, but his loss of reputation and credibility. Frankly, $14 million are not enough. I'm going to come back to those in a while. But that is the range of issues we have here this morning. The one that affects us in a very troubling way, deadly way, is where I'm going to start. Murders. We have been watching the murder stats closely. And what we have noticed is a pattern now where murders are down consistently for the last several months at between 15 and 18-20%. We're into the final quarter of the year, and it is maintaining that steady reduction. Murders are now down 18% since the start of the year and when compared to last year. According to the Constabulary Force, 879 people have been murdered in Jamaica between January 1 and October 5. And that's 197 fewer than the corresponding period last year. But I'm reminded by a discussion we had with Professor Clayton at the University of the West Indies. And he said an 18% reduction is not to be dismissed, because it means that we killed, or almost 200 fewer people died through murders, which is a start. It could be 200 more. But then he said, the rate at which we kill people in Jamaica, more than 1,000 a year for a population of 3 million, just under 3 million, nothing short of a reduction in the order of about 80-90% will get us to a place where Jamaicans begin to feel comfortable or relaxed, or the fear of murder will decline. We need a reduction in the range of about 80-90%. And at 18% we are far off. We can take a little solace in the fact that it's not increasing. Here's more from Ruby and Williams.
St. James continues to record the most murders in any police division, with 105 homicides as at October 5. That figure is still lower when compared to what the division recorded for the corresponding period last year, with 149 people killed. St. James is followed by Westmoreland, which had 79 murders. The St. Andrew South Division recorded 22 fewer murders for the period, with a total of 76 homicides. St. Catherine North saw 67 people murdered for the period. St. Catherine South recorded 65. The parish of Manchester has seen an increase in homicides, with 42 people killed compared to 30 for the corresponding period last year. Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, East Kingston, St. Andrew Central, and St. Andrew North have also recorded increases. On the other hand, Portland continues to record the least number of murders, with 8. Meanwhile, shootings have declined by nearly 7%, coming in at 797 as at October 5. That's 55 fewer incidents than the number recorded for the similar period last year. Other major crimes such as rapes, robberies, and break-ins continue to decline. Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Ruby. The other bit of news coming out of yesterday is the fact that unemployment in Jamaica continues to fall. The figures as at April, compared to the initial rate recorded under Statin, it's now down to 4.2%. 4.2%. That's a decrease of 1.2 percentage points, down from 5.4 recorded in January. Yeah, according to the latest data from Statin, as of April 2024, there were 62,800 unemployed persons in Jamaica, based on how we define employment and unemployment. Most of those unemployed, 58.1%, were females, not necessarily women, females. Yeah, that's a rate of 5.3% compared to an unemployment rate of 3.3% for males. Yes, there were also 29,500 unemployed youth or young people between 15 and 24 years old. That makes a rate of 14.8%. Of that number, 15,100 or 51.4% were males. Yeah. Statin also told us a little more. It says across the country, where do you think is the lowest unemployment rate in the country? It says the lowest unemployment rate in the country is in the Greater Kingston metropolitan area. And there, the Greater Kingston metropolitan area, it is at 3.1%. While unemployment rates in rural Jamaica, rural areas and other urban centers were at 4.9% or 4.8%. Yeah? So we bring you up to speed on that. Time for the break. Turning to the stories in the Observer this morning that caught my eye. The lead story. The unwanted. Court forced to keep 6 mentally disordered inmates in prison after finding no entity or family willing to take them. A story written by Alicia Dunkley Willis. It says 6 mentally disordered prisoners detained for years at the Governor General's pleasure after being charged on separate indictments for criminal offences but were found unfit to plead will have to remain behind bars indefinitely after a court found last month that there was no assistance from any state or private institutions or any family members to take them in. The 6 who were represented by the Legal Aid Council and whose cases were heard between December 2022 and September this year are among 14 for whom the Council has filed applications before the courts, seeking a review of each applicant's detention and their potential release with or without conditions. The inmates on whose behalf separate applications were filed sought orders from the court for their terms of detention to be substituted to the convenience of the court in lieu of the Governor General, to be released unconditionally, or alternatively, that they be released on parole with condition. Yeah? So, here we are. 6 Jamaicans, and I suspect there are more, because of their mental ill health. Yeah? They have to spend more time, indefinite time, in our penal institutions. And if you are not aware, if you have been living under a rock, you must be aware. Unless you have been living under a rock, you must be aware that conditions in Jamaican prisons are hell. Hell holes. Yes? You don't want to be spending a day, much less years, in Jamaican prisons. And here we have these men, because of their lack of mental health, yeah, will have to spend more time, years, in prison. And then the other story related to it, in a way, in the Observer this morning. $14 million of Falls imprisonment. Court rules in favor of man held in custody for 3 years after sloppy police investigation. Sloppy police investigation. And not only sloppy police investigation, but the prosecutors, who it took 3 years and more to realize that really the evidence was simply not here to mount a viable prosecution against Mr. Charles Montague, the man who was freed by the Circuit Court in 2017, 7 years ago, after spending 3 years behind bars for crimes he did not commit. The judge awarded him just over $14 million in damages. Yeah? Mr. Montague in 2020 sued the government of Jamaica and the arresting officer at the center of the matter for false imprisonment and malicious prosecution. The judge, Andrea Thomas, in ruling in Montague's favor on September 19, ordered that he be awarded special damages totaling $450,000, general damages for false imprisonment of $6.8 million, and damages for malicious prosecution to include aggravated damages of almost $7.5 million, totaling $14.3 million. And the judge says, in assessing the evidence, she found that the claimant has proven that the two cops at the center of the case, in setting in motion the prosecution for the offense of murder, robbery with aggravation, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition, had no reasonable and probable cause to do so. What a wicked act. Quoting the judge, as such, I find them both liable for malicious prosecution, considering the fact that in so doing, they were employees of the state, acting in the course of their duties. I find that the second defendant, the Attorney General, is vicariously liable. And the reporting of the Observer goes on to detail how Mr. Montague was unjustly treated by the Jamaican state. Yeah? In part it says, based on the claim against Mr. Montague, the surviving female witness involved, who was allegedly robbed and her counterpart murdered, described her assailant twice in her witness statement dated October 3, 2014, as being very tall and about 6 feet 3 inches. Another witness described the assailant as being about 6 feet 2 to 3 inches tall or more. The document also said the then corporal said, based on the information he had received, he was in search of a man who walked with a limp. But listen to this. Montague, however, the document says, is 5 feet 8 inches tall, has absolutely no physical impediments or challenges, and has never walked with a limp throughout his life, nor on the days in question when he was arrested, or when it is alleged that an assailant murdered him and robbed. We have too many of these, Far too many. In every system you're going to have errors being made. Yes? But we have too many. Because of sloppy police work, sometimes malicious police work, and you take away people's freedom and liberty. The other story in the Observer this morning, I haven't seen it or heard it anywhere else, including here, is from the former Speaker of the House and former Member of Parliament for South Trelawney, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, And according to the Observer this morning, he's hinting at returning to represent Trelawney Southern. Well, we have been sharing that with you. We have been telling you that that is our information, that Marissa ain't done. Well, according to the Observer this morning, in her first appearance on a political stage since her resignation as House Speaker and Member of Parliament for Trelawney Southern, a little over 1 year ago, Marissa Mamadi Dalrymple Philibert has declared her unflinching devotion and support for the people in the constituency. She said on the platform, "Tonight, quote, I want to say to my family in South Trelawney, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And I say to you tonight, you can hold me to my word. My word will always be my bond. What it means, however, only the future holds. But I will never turn my back on you. I continue to lean on God's guidance on my way forward in this political journey. But be assured that nothing will stop me from always being there for my family in South Trelawney," said Mamadi. "I just want to say family has always been my foundation, and family comes first. Family is everything to me, so tonight I want to say sincerely, and I want you to listen so you hear. Don't interpret, just listen to what I'm saying," she added. Yeah? And she goes on to say that the people of South Trelawney have held my hand. Them not leave me. I'm not here this evening as a Member of Parliament, but I stand proudly as part of that constituency and the person who leads a charge in South Trelawney. I am not the Member of Parliament, but I proudly lead the charge for that constituency. And so this evening, I use this opportunity to thank the people of South for their continued and overwhelming support of my leadership. The people of South Trelawney have been good and loyal to me for 17 years. They have stood with me in good times and bad times. They have been with me when we had plenty. They have been with me when we had little. And so I must express my love for them and my care for them. When I sat in Parliament, I enjoyed a good relationship with my parliamentary colleagues. But in South Trelawney, what I've gained is family and true friendship. Wow. And she continues, "I say to all of Jamaica, whosoever will may come, but I'm saying with confidence that South Trelawney will remain safely in the winning column of the Jamaica Labour Party. And I leave it just like that. Because I tell you, when we circle each other in South Trelawney, you can't get better than us." She added that her attendance at the conference was in support of JLP leader Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Trelawney Northern MP Tova Hamilton, and Dunstan Harper, Councillor for the Sherwood Content Division. So, she pretty much confirming that she'll be back. She'll be back.